This essay is about things I've learned from Bobby Kennedy and Randy Posh, and especially Posh's comment about Dancing with Death. Dancing with Death, in a strange way, makes you come alive. And I don't want to go into details about, I've done this numerous times, but Dancing with Death was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it woke me up to the reality that I am finite and that my clock is ticking. But along with that realization that you're going to die sometime, therefore you better get alive and live, is the question, how will people remember you when you're gone belly up? And tied to that question are how you remember other people who you meet, and how will you remember them? And there are three children, my grandchildren, who live in Myanmar, or what used to be called Burma, who, how will they remember me? Time will tell. But I remember them for a whole long list of things. The oldest child, who is now 13, I met when she was 9 on my first trip to Myanmar, and her name is Titi. Titi is a lovely young lady, creative, imaginative, driven, intelligent. And the interesting thing is that I'd have written about this beginning of the month. I took the three girls on a shopping spree, and in the midst of the shopping spree, I learned something from Titi, and I'll never forget it. And I'll never forget dozens and dozens of things that 4 years ago, and then this most recent trip, that Titi and I did together. And I will remember those and cherish them. My next granddaughter, and her name is Snow. Snow, in many ways, she's like Titi, just a little bit younger. But Titi, the one single, most important, most memorable thing that we ever did together was holding hands. Snow, when I was in Myanmar 4 years ago, was just 4 years old. She doesn't remember me meeting her at a daycare center, preschool. She was busy studying, and she has an amazing focus. She focuses on something, and you can't get her moving away from what she's focused on. But the first time when I actually met her, so that she can remember it, I don't remember where we were going, but her parents and her other sisters were going to walk someplace, and I just happened to be next to her. And without saying anything to me, without doing anything, She simply reached out and grabbed my hand and held it. She continued to walk. She didn't say anything. And every time that we were any place and I was next to her, she'd reach out and hold my hand. It was her expression of love and care. I won't forget that. And then there is Fatty. Fatty, doesn't know as much English as her older sister or her parents. But every time she sees me, when I was in Myanmar, she'd say, Popo G, which was a Buddhist nat, and an old man who was an alchemist, and he was a nice old guy. And so it's a fun comment that Patty and I banter back and forth. And so when she does that, I'll come up and tickle her or giggle with her or something. And you count 1001, 1002. The next thing she's doing is sitting on my lap. And then she looks up at me with her dark, dark eyes and just kind of flutters them as if to say, you and I love each other, don't we? I know you love me and I love you. I mean, and it is, in many ways, it's like what Snow's done about expression of love without even saying anything. It's simply holding hands. Fatty's expression is, looking up in your eyes and just going. And so kind of, in one way, that's the backstory. You as a reader have people that you know, people who have influenced you and people who you have influenced. And the question is, how will they remember you and how will you remember them? Choose wisely. It makes all the difference in the world. Take care.